Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Mull, Executive Director of the Cocoon. Today is a very special day for us as we celebrate our 15th anniversary. 15 years ago today, we opened our emergency shelter to support survivors of domestic violence and moved our first family in pretty much right away. And we are super excited for all of the growth that we have done over these last 15 years. I can say that I know that on the day that we opened our shelter facility, and we had big plans and goals and vision and dreams. But I don't know that any of us thought that we would morph into the comprehensive, holistic agency that we are today to serve survivors of gender-based violence in our community. And we are incredibly grateful for all of you who have supported us along the ways, because we would have not been able to do it without all of you. From the individuals who founded the Cocoon and had the vision and the drive and the grit and the determination and the energy to help us get our doors open. From the landlord who graciously allowed us to use one of his properties rent free so that we could provide that safe space for survivors. And then all of the folks that have walked with us along the way to get us to where we are today to celebrate our 15th anniversary. And so for that, we are incredibly, incredibly grateful. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with our history, we, as I mentioned, opened our emergency shelter 15 years ago today. And we opened the shelter on the back of 4 domestic violence homicides that occurred right here in our community. And that was really the catalyst for us recognizing that we needed a safe place for survivors to go. Prior to us opening our doors, if folks needed safe emergency housing, they were required to have to go out of the county because there was no safe housing option for them within Wood County. And so we opened originally with a 10-bed shelter that grew to 12 over time. And then we operated that 12-bed shelter up until about 3 years ago. And then 3 years ago, we were very fortunate to complete renovations on the current facility that we are in now and open up a brand new state-of-the-art emergency shelter that allowed us to double our bed size from 12 to 24. And also allowed us the ability to be able to take pets into our shelter facility, which we were not able to do in our original facility. And so that transition for us has really been huge. Even expanding to having 24 beds in our shelter facility, we are almost always full. It is very unusual that we would have an empty bed available in shelter because the need in our community just continues to be so great for folks who are needing to flee a violent situation and find safety. Throughout our 15 years, we also recognized that not only was shelter something that was really critical for folks in our community, but that we also needed to serve a wide variety of survivors who were either fortunate enough to not need shelter services or maybe weren't quite ready yet to make such a big step in leaving a relationship or making those types of plans. And so we wanted to be able to serve survivors throughout our county, irregardless of where they were in their process. And so we expanded our services in 2012 to be able to serve all survivors of domestic violence, irregardless of whether or not they reside in our shelter facility. And that allowed us to do 24/7 crisis intervention with those survivors. It allowed us the ability to be able to do safety planning and legal advocacy, financial empowerment work, case management, a lot of the very critical services to help survivors take the next steps in their journey to safety and healing. And currently, about 90% of the individuals that we serve in any given year are actually accessing our community-based services and are not staying in our shelter facility. And so we are able to fill a very large need for survivors in our community. And then again, in 2015, we expanded to be able to serve survivors of sexual violence as well. And so we brought the Safe Center, which had been providing sexual violence services to those in our communities for 20 plus years under our umbrella to create the comprehensive, holistic service provider for survivors of domestic and sexual violence that we are today. And so for that, we are very grateful in that we can serve all survivors who are experiencing any type of gender-based violence. And so we really felt like at that point that we had created the comprehensive holistic services that were needed to serve survivors in our community. But we wanted to know, what could we do to work ourselves out of a job? What would it look like if nobody needed to call our crisis line or nobody was asking to come and stay in our emergency shelter? And so we, a year ago, about a year and a half ago, created our brand new prevention program, which is allowing us to go out in the community and work with individuals to prevent domestic and sexual violence before it happens, which is really critical for us as we continue this journey of eradicating domestic and sexual violence in our communities. And I think that all of us share that goal of wanting and envisioning all households, all individuals in our community to be able to live violence free. And so, again, we could not have done this without the support of you all who have really walked with us every step of the way and provided us with the ability to be able to continue to grow, continue to meet the needs of survivors in our communities as they arise, to evolve and change, to ensure that we are helping survivors in their journey in the best way possible, and to do all of that at no cost. And so I'm asking today, in celebration of our 15th anniversary, if you would consider making a gift to support our programs and services. Every dollar counts. Every dollar goes back into serving survivors of domestic and sexual violence and allowing us to do that at no cost to them. And so if you are able to, please consider going to our website, which is just thecocoon.org. And going down to the bottom and clicking on financial support and making a donation to support survivors in our community in honor of our 15th anniversary. So we thank you so much. We look forward to another 15, 20, 50 years of serving survivors in our community. And so we cannot say thank you enough to all of you all for supporting us. So take care. Talk to you soon.